Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are here for another episode of What the Health, where we are talking about personal training and fitness devices. Super excited to talk about these two things. Kind of related, kind of not. Both are good assistants for working out. Anyway, just first, we want to say hi, Evan.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello, hello. How are you doing?
Overall, I'm maintaining pretty well. It's been a rough week, but taking it day by day. Today, I feel okay. How are you?
Is real. That's me too. Here we go. She wants to play. It's been a week. A little bit of anxiety, a little bit of all the things, but I'm here now. Had a good day, good workout. So we are. What did I say yesterday? Above par. We are currently above par, and I'll take that.
Yes.
We got below, at, and above. We're above, and I'll take that for what it is. All right, so we're going to talk about personal training. I'm our personal trainer or personal training. Well, what is a personal trainer?
We're talking about personal training, which involves personal
trainer. I see what you did.
Yes.
So we get in the official definition, because I can tell you my experience, but I would love to hear, because I feel like we're about to make this facts and scientific, and I want to hear all the details behind it, although I did study for this a little bit.
Okay. Well, you have life experience, and that's just as valuable as any article or any, research that's done about personal training. So we will rely on that as well, if you don't
mind. Making me blush.
Look, everything matters. Everything matters. But what are personal trainers? Personal trainers are individuals that many of us may have heard of them or seen them or have been marketed about them at gyms. But their main mission is to help their clients achieve their fitness goals. Simply put, most commonly, personal trainers are one-to-one. So it's yourself and the personal trainer who's an experienced individual in certain fields of fitness that help you reach your goals. So it oftentimes starts with a consultation of, hi, Joe, I'm Evan, and I want to lose X pounds within X amount of time frame. And that personal trainer has the expertise to create a workout plan to get you to where you want to be, or at least get you in the direction, lead you in the direction that you want to be. Oftentimes, personal trainers are found in gyms, but there are some that are independent. You can find them, through various resources. They're different, any kind of, fitness related place, but most commonly gyms. And I think that's kind of the gist of it. Is there anything I'm missing from the perspective of personal training? Is there anything else that you all do that I left out?
No, I think that pretty much gets into the overall definition. I think there are specialties. So most personal trainers not only do the general knowledge, and I think we're going to touch on that later, but they also have like different specialties such as weight loss. There's some for pregnant people. There's some for older people. So, it's not just about finding the personal trainer, but what they specialize in, how they can help you get to, like you said, their goal. We'll talk about this a little later as well, but that's why it's always important to have a very specific goal, so you know who to go to for very specific needs that you have. So yeah, I think you hit it on the head.
Yes, and to just add on to that, a lot of people, individuals who are there. Let me say this: there have been studies to show when do you decide to get a personal trainer? Really, there's any time, but it just depends on where you are in your journey. Some people need motivation. Some people just don't know what to do, especially, if you're one of those individuals. On January 1st, I'm going to the gym X amount of times, and you go to the gym and you're overwhelmed. You can probably use a personal trainer for that if you're a novice to the gym or your fitness journey. However, there are more specialized personal trainers. If you are a Spartan athlete, and maybe you just have you need help with increasing your upper body strength, there are specific personal trainers for that. So it really depends on, there are a number of reasons where people can have personal trainers or when they
Mm-hmm.
decide to have personal trainers too. So it's a great resource, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
for any athlete at any point of their career.
Mm-hmm. Beginning, middle, or end. You just never know if you either need to help to start, because it kind of gets into like the stages of change. So it's like no, this is gonna age me because this was on the test. Pre-contemplation. So it's like you have no intention of starting. You have contemplation where you have some intent or you have like a goal near in mind. So that means you're like, should I get one? Maybe. Then you got preparation. That means you're ready to take some steps. So you go to the gym, you want to chat about things. And the action part, that's when you're ready to like go and actually do it. So you sign up for the training, you start going. Maintenance, which is like you're actually doing it, you're staying consistent with it, you're meeting with your trainer. And then of course, termination, which you just stop doing it. So I think it really depends on where you are in your journey, especially with training. Even if you were doing it for years, sometimes you might need, like you said, one for a specific new goal, or you just want to. I think we all have had, I don't know about you, but I know for me, I've had like plateaus, and sometimes you just don't know how to get over that next hump. And sometimes a personal trainer can help you get to that next stage.
Yes, you have to get to that next stage.
Have
That's a
to.
great I mean, that's a lot of great, reasons why people would want to get into personal training, or let me say this, not get into personal training,
Get one.
to
Consider one.
consider a personal trainer. One thing that so I've never had a personal trainer. However, something that as somebody who didn't know about personal training until, we decided to do this topic, was that I did not know that they really just focus on the fitness plan. They don't focus on nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, just as somebody who frequently goes to the gym, I assumed that they were like an all-encompassing, unit. But commonly, they just focus on, getting you active, getting you moving, teaching you new exercises. But then there's another piece that that comes along with, just an overall, overall plan for, health and wellness.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So when you get trained, most of the major licensing boards or licenses, they don't, so you're not certified in nutrition. They give you enough knowledge where you know the average like protein and carb, like you have the general idea, but you're not certified to give certain advice. You're really not supposed to give certain advice unless you have additional training that comes with it. There are different other classes and licenses you can get to give more advice, but that's why I always say be very, very careful. Be very careful of the folks that are giving you like meal plans and things of that nature, because a lot of times it's not from a certified nutritionist or someone that has the expertise. It's just more of a based off assumptions, or I don't know. Anytime anything is like packaged for a one size fit all, you just do your due diligence. So especially when it comes to food, nutrition, calories and intake, it's very specialized when it comes to each person. So either like do your own research or go to a nutritionist or a doctor before starting one.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I would love to share, there are a couple of things, the nutrition aspect. There are a couple of things you want to look for if you decide to have a personal trainer. Obviously, their expertise and their specialization, the specialty rather, in whatever services they're providing. If they have any certifications or education, which are helpful. Also, price.
Price point.
Price point is important, and also how flexible they are with your schedule. There are parents, as you said, there are specific personal trainers for pregnant individuals. You have to consider a lot of factors, so it takes time. However, it's possible, and also you don't need a personal trainer for an extensive amount of time. For some people, it can just be to kind of get you on the track. Yeah, to jumpstart, get a couple of weeks. Okay, thank you. And you release that trainer. But there are some people who need that consistent motivation. So I say that all to say there is a level of client responsibility in this as well.
Yes.
Before you jump into personal training, kind of have a confident feeling about what you want and how long you want it before you invest in such a service.
Yeah, because a lot of personal trainers won't say we're done, right? Like it's because when you think about it, it is yes about helping your health, but it is also a business. It's also someone getting money. So they're not going to say, I'm done working with you unless you have that understanding of what your goal is. And that's why you have to be very clear what your goal is and being upfront. And if you know, like you said, they might not bring you to the next stage, or they're going to stop you once you get to this goal. That's where you have to either decide, I need to get a new one, or we have to update our goals, or I need to just stop doing a personal trainer for a little bit, which is one of my own experiences, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, I think it's very important for you to know what you're doing and what you want, because, you can end up, the only thing that I get very cognizant of, or you don't want to get too reliant on the personal trainer, and treating it like a crutch. So one thing I always tell people, and this kind of uses for anything from therapists to any other person that's helping you in your type of wellness journey, is always be like, write things down. So if they're giving you a workout, just write it down. Don't just do it because they said to do it. Just write it down, ask questions, so that you can do it on your own. And just make sure you have a full understanding of what body groups is working out, because that gives you the knowledge and the understanding for you to do it anytime, so you don't get injured. And it also allows you to, like I said, not have them as a crutch, so you can do things on your own and not feel like you need them to get into the room. And like you said, it is, sometimes a personal trainer is good for in the beginning of your journey, getting comfortable in the gym. I know a lot of people don't like working out or don't like that space, so it kind of give them the confidence they need, or it's just something that gives them that confidence overall. But it's just very important that you kind of do both at the same time. A little bit of a rant, but
we like the gyms.
I'm just dropping them, because you see it all the time. People just they're like, oh, I don't know why I'm here, or I don't know why I'm working with them anymore, or it feels like they owe them to stay. I've heard things of that, like they feel like they've created that relationship and they don't want to stop anymore, especially if they don't find them useful. Or you'll find people similar to therapy. There's a lot of overlapping parts, but this is also a part where if you have a personal trainer, it's okay to say no, this relationship isn't going to work, your style doesn't work for me. I think it's important to always use your free sessions if you get them, so you can kind of see how they work. Everyone has different styles. I hate to use this example, but Biggest Loser, right? There was 3 trainers or a couple of trainers, but they all had different styles. There was like the loving and caring one, and the ones that like nurture you and want to talk to you. And then there's the hardcore yelling, which, might raise trauma or bring up, right. So that's another story. But there's different types, and you just have to know what kind of person that you are and what kind of support that you need. Because at the end of the day, they're here to help you get to your goal. And they should be supplementing whatever you need as a customer, as a client.
Before we get into our personal experiences with personal trainers, I do have a question. Do you believe that personal trainers have a bad reputation? Because as you mentioned, about the relationship between sometimes not ending, or it feels like it's kind of like there's an owing part in this. I bring it up because, like, again, I've just frequented gyms, but it seems like it's also sometimes it seems like people are overwhelmed by personal trainers as if they give them all the power in the relationship, but they don't, they kind of like, it's almost like a power struggle. Would you have any thought about that? Is that accurate? Or
that's accurate? Because so sometimes you feel like they're the expert, they know best, so I should not be questioned anything, or they'll let me know when it should be ending. But you're the money, you have the money, you have the power. I think, as well as wow, she's on my chair. Sorry, trainer. I am aghast.
As we see,
he never does that. So I think a lot of the issue comes in is, it is about your health, right? It's about, and I said this a little earlier, it's about your health, They want to usually, and most of them are like they care about your health. They want to see their customers, their clients go far. They want to see them get to the change in their goals. But it also is the business aspect, right? Like a lot of gyms say you have to have this many clients by this time. So there's quotas and there's expectations, and that sometimes take away from the actual experience. That might say, oh, the person is now like, oh, as soon as your session that was 30 minutes goes to 31, it's over. Like, hard stop. We're not like, not, I don't want to say stop talking to me, but we're moving on, right? So I think sometimes these extra factors, such as having to get to quotas, having to deal with the money aspect, the marketing, the always having to, if you go to certain gyms, a lot of them like walk around and always asking questions, and it could seem very like bombarding, or some are very like, oh, do you need help with this? Do you need support with this? Do you need even if you know you're doing, they'll ask questions or may interrupt, and it may seem annoying. I think it's also because there's outside factors on top of just being able to be your health coach, being your health professional, your personal trainer. Hope that made sense.
It does make sense. And that brings a lot of clarity for me because I've never had a personal trainer. I've considered it, but as you mentioned, like you said, there is a business aspect to personal training that feels that's evident as a gym goer, as a non-gym goer, as somebody who's
Right.
just looks for ways to improve my performance. It feels overwhelming, which is why I've never considered it. However, I do hope to have one in the not in the near future, but in the future, as I, am on my triathlon journey. So I think it'll be beneficial for like performance. But I've intentionally veered from personal training because I'm like, I feel like it's a scam. I haven't found I haven't
Person.
found the personal trainer that I want for me. But I also now I have tools to say, I love how you mentioned even like finding a therapist. And for those who have therapists, it can be a process. So having, a criteria to say, I need this from my personal trainer for this much, and I want to meet, I have it laid out before I, seek his or her support.
Yeah. And, so there's like I said, there's the two pieces, like the money piece or the business piece, and then the actual helping, the assisting, the training piece. And I think similar to any part of business, everyone has different personas, right? So someone could be very like used sales carsman style, and you might resonate or you might get an experience. For me, I get overwhelmed when people start talking fast. This is me as a trainer. I like, if someone starts talking fast, I automatically assume they're like trying to get me, right? That's how I'm very not, I'm very big on like, just talk slow, just give me the facts and give me time to decide. And some of it's like, all right, you have to figure out in 20 minutes if you want this now, like that. I'm just like, okay, I feel like I'm being scammed. But there's others that are not like that, right? There's others that are, let's work together, let's figure this out. If you don't know, let's come back, let's try this again. And I think everyone has a different approach. And I think that's something that you should also consider. If you do feel like the person is rushing you, or it always feels like they're trying to upsell you or upcharge you, or they want to sell you something new, that's something you should consider of like, do I want this is that affecting my experience, right? Because the personal training experience is not just at the gym. It's also, how do I feel when I leave? How do I feel when I'm getting there? Am I going, like when I get out of work and I know I have to go, am I dreading it because I'm going to have to go through all these hoops to go to training? Or is it somewhere like, okay, I'm excited to get started because I know they're going to help me and get me to the next goal? So I think you just have to look at the whole experience. Like we said, in wellness, it's a whole experience, a whole journey that's important. It's not just the part that's in the gym.
There it is.
There it is. Boom.
Boom. Any final takeaways that we have or any final gems that we have for personal training?
Let me see. So you said you haven't had one. So what do
I
you
have not.
So before I give my experience with personal training, because I haven't yet, what do you think you would need from a personal trainer?
I feel motivated. Like I feel motivated independently.
Like
Like
self-motivated.
yes, I am a self-motivated person. Generally speaking, I can get up. I have the capacity to get up, go to the gym. I think especially now, I'm like, okay, after a day, I start feeling anxious about like not working out. So like
Mm-hmm.
I have the consistency to work out and do something and be active. I would need a personal trainer, I think, for definitely to push myself more. I think
Mm.
I know that, I like comfort in my workouts, especially like with running now. I'm training for a marathon and like
Ooh,
I dread speed workouts because I don't want to run fast.
what?
I want to run comfortably. So give me my little, 8
It's
39
so
30 minutes. I don't want to
fun.
run. No, I don't want, no, that's not for me.
Oh, I
That's not
love
my
track
story.
work. It's so fun.
But
Sorry.
no, 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 you're fine. I would need a personal trainer in that regard, helping
Got
me
it.
feel more comfortable, pushing me, knowing, okay, this is Evan's threshold. We can work up to this, and whatever tools and things that they have, I would want that type of guidance and just, definitely tweaking those enhancements to my performance. That's why I think I would need a personal trainer for.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think I could see myself doing it for like a couple of months. But once I feel confident, I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I like that. So before I was a trainer, I had two. I had one in high school. Don't remember that much. So take that for what it is. I just remember it was just going through the motions. Very much like I don't remember learning anything new. I just remember going there after school, going on the treadmill, which I hated, and then doing some random machines and then going home. And then having a smoothie at the gym bar and then going home. And didn't do that long, wasn't really the best experience. But then I started my wellness journey, and this is the one everyone's familiar with, on January 2011, did I say? And I got a trainer that day, and it was a really good relationship. He was really good. He was very attentive, always asked me questions, made sure I was writing it down, made sure I understood what was happening. Actually, still stay in contact with him a little bit now. But it was just very interesting because, he was really good and he was paying attention to me. But what actually what actually brought me to want to be a trainer was actually I remember seeing another guy at the gym, and he'd like be on his phone when he was with the customer or the client, and I was just like, that is just and he just I don't know, it was a lot of things about his, like, the way he dressed, just it didn't seem like he cared, and he just was not putting a lot of effort into the clients or the customers, and it just put a sour taste in my mouth. So I was like, if I ever become a trainer, I'm gonna make sure I'm not that guy for the most part. Of course, it's a little bit more than that now, and it wasn't about him. It's about how I want to change folks, allow people to hear my story and know that they can do their own journey. But at the time when I was working out, I was like, I just want to make sure folks don't have to deal with that kind of guy. So that was my experience.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. That's the little
It's always
things.
a bad apple.
It's always one. And I was like, oh my
Always
gosh,
one.
that's trash.
Yeah.
I hope he is this. That was trash. I don't know his name, so I can't call him out.
Okay. Safe space. Safe space.
That's all I got.
So I think just to conclude this section, I think I would want our listeners to know personal training is what you make it.
Mm,
It's a great tool, a valuable investment for you to use at any stage of your fitness journey, whether you're starting off, whether you are semi-confident, or whether you are an expert and an Olympian. You can benefit from personal training as long as you know what you want to get out of it and can speak to that confidently with the trainers. Be mindful that there are a plethora of personal trainers out there. So you just have to find what fits you and make sure you are comfortable with your decision.
period. That means I agree.
Period.
That is a good. So speaking of like getting decisions. Speaking of using, I would guess personal training as a tool in your wellness journey. We're going to talk about fitness devices, another tool in your, I guess, toolbox of wellness devices or wellness tools that you can have. And do you have a fitness device?
I do. I recently changed to a Garmin Solar Watch, but before I was an Apple Watch man.
I am an Apple Watch man myself, although before
Okay.
I had a Garmin and before that I had a Fitbit. But
Okay, yeah, I've had a Fitbit too a couple of years ago.
so tell me more about these fitness devices. What, so we just named three, but I'm sure
We
there's
did.
much more than that.
Those are like those are the most popular three right now. But historically, you may have heard of what is it? Jawbone? Have you ever heard of Jawbone?
Yes, I've heard of Jawbone.
Okay, I haven't heard of
Throwback.
Jawbone until I haven't heard of Jawbone until like researching this, but okay.
Yeah.
What is another one? I'm looking to write it down. Let me find it. Because they have a subscription to
I mean, like Samsung has one, Galaxy.
Samsung Galaxy Watch, Whoop.
I don't know her.
Okay, she is Whoop is
Whoop, there it is.
Yeah, no, Whoop is they're known because they have a very great, like, they have a comfortable watch and it's very sleek. It feels like nude almost to your skin, but it's a subscription as well. So you subscribe to get like all of their ins and outs to all the ins and outs once once you have the app. But yeah, it's think of like the more cotton Apple Watch band. It's a slick design. It's very modern. And also I've came across Core with a K, which is a Black-owned fitness device, and they actually have a number of connected devices like the scale, the kettlebell, the watch itself. So there are a lot of devices out there.
I didn't know they had
so yeah, I mean, that's right. But this is our oh, go ahead.
But I was gonna say there's also the ring. Isn't there a ring?
Ring, like a
fitness ring.
It's called, it's
like,
a little, did you put it on your finger?
Yeah. Aura. Yeah, see, it watches your sleep, it watches your workout, it watches your recovery. Just kidding. Oura.
Yes, Aura. Okay. I did see that in this
That's
research.
Curious about that.
Spell it again.
Oura.
Something new to try. Okay. I thought this was a band, like a wristband.
Oh, no. It's like a ring band. I wonder if anyone
should check out Aura.
has tried it. Let us know.
Yes.
But I think that's where a lot of them get you. All these are subscription based, because I see you're here. You need a subscription. That's how you catch you.
But as you see, just as we become invested in this in 3 minutes, the world, well, let me say this, a lot of fitness individuals have also become just as invested in tracking and learning, like how can I personalize my health? And what really got me here was one day I was working out, but I forgot to start my Apple Watch. And
I don't count.
No, but like within 15 minutes, it asks you like, hey, it seems like you're working out.
Yeah.
Do you want to record it? And you can just press record. But I always question, how does it know I'm working out? And I'll get into that kind of part later. But fitness, it's really kind of dope. But yeah, fitness bands are kind of, the trend now. So I think we just want to kind of just talk about, like, as we said, we both had them, but they're the thing, and they're meant to keep really kind of personalized and help you keep track and stay focused on your fitness goals. Obviously, you can tailor them to whatever you're focused on, whether that's calorie counting or steps or working out X amount of time. But it's again another tool to keep you on track. Now, to briefly go into how it monitors that, they use a accelerometer inside. So it's like it's on 3 axes. It's like a small ball on 3 axes to kind of help you determine, like, oh, this person seems like they're running. It's deep inside of the device.
Not me looking on my watch.
But it's inside, so it can tell, like, if you are repetitively, twisting your wrist, maybe you're swimming or playing tennis. So it's very, very
interesting.
Yeah, very deep technology that's within these things that are tracking,
Also scary, but okay.
Yes, because, now they support, I don't know the accuracy, but, a lot of the devices now, for instance, Apple Watch, they can track heart rate and pulse ox, the oxygen in your blood, and even alert you if, for
if
you
it's
are having a medical emergency, like a heart attack. So they're pretty advanced.
And they notify, if you tell it to notify someone, it will. Even so my heart rate gets pretty low. I think it's just from years of working out. That's what my doctor is saying. So it gets low, and then my watch is like, are you okay? When it gets a certain amount, it's like, oh, you've been at this heart rate for a while. Just checking in. But it's also, I think it's interesting. I think we are in a space where I think every watch has its own essence and its own thing. But I think for the most part, everyone's pretty much into data, or like figuring out, like you said, how to customize it. Whether you're a runner, you probably do more Garmin because it has like how much oxygen you're doing in your run. Or if it's like the overall metrics or gamification of it, the Apple Watch is a little bit more seamless with the phone. But I think either way, the aspect of like the company having your data, like you said, is just something to always be cognizant of, because it does feel like a toy, and it does feel like we are getting a lot out of it. It's cool. You get awards, and you get to compete with friends, but it's like you're both the consumer and the data at the same time, but which goes for social media or anything else, but just something.
Correct. They are used on a from what we know, at least now, definitely we know how they're used on a personal level, but a lot of these companies, they do use this information to make larger generalizations about fitness and health. A number of them use some of the metrics for like research, so they can improve the accelerometer inside the device, so it can be more accurate when I start kung fu, if I'm doing some type of martial arts. It can be more accurate to know that. So they have it for more generalized they so far we know that they use it for a lot of generalized purposes, as well as institutions that may focus on exercise studies to improve or address health concerns. Another thing, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was just gonna kind of talk about the 10,000 steps.
I was gonna
from Fitbit.
I was gonna ask, were there, or do you know of any studies of if these help? Does it is there folks that have fitness bands are 10% more likely to stay consistent, or is there any data around that?
Great question. Yes, there are a number of studies. And we'll add this to the show notes, but there is one study that was done in Belgium where they actually tested this theory about the 10,000 steps a day that I'll get into after this. But people use fitness watches and smart watches, and they show that within the time frame, especially most of them are like within 3 months or a set amount of time, that it does keep an individual consistent. However, on this specific one from Belgium, they followed up with the individuals after like 4 years, and they all fell off of their like 10K step monitoring. So it only works as much as the user, unfortunately. It's a great tool to have, at the moment, especially, it's a great tool to have at the moment, but it doesn't there isn't like something to keep someone invested in it, because if you shower, you take it off, or you may forget it, or it doesn't charge, and so many other factors. But there isn't anything that has shown it. there has it
long term
a lot of but a lot of the research has shown just when used it helps, but when it's not used it does not help.
Got it. That's a good point. I think I like to compare this to, from my experience, it's like for me tracking food, especially what was it, MyFitnessPal. In the beginning,
Yes.
like at first I did it for a long period of time, maybe months and months and months, and it was working effectively. And then I stopped doing it, and went back to, not as eating as specific. I don't want to say it's healthy, but just not as precise. And what I've noticed is from that point on, I use it as a, like, similar to personal training, like a jump start. So I'll do it for like 2 weeks, but I'll also be cognizant of like what improvements I'm doing, what changes I'm making, so that when the 2 weeks is over, I now know, okay, this is what a cup of rice looks like. And that's what I want. So I could do it kind of by hand. Although it's not as precise, but it kind of gets me back in track compared to before I was doing it. I was having 5 cups of rice. I'm exaggerating, but it kind of helps you get back into that mindset. Similar to the last episode about juicing, how it kind of gets you back into that, at least for me, get you back into eating right, losing some of your cravings for sugar, at least for me. I think that some of these fitness devices, if you treat it that way, of just making it your jumpstart, but not being consumed by it and keeping it as your not making it your crutch, I think it will be beneficial.
Correct. It is beneficial to support you.
Yes.
Similar, there's a level of accountability that also comes with it too.
Yes.
Which is kind of, again, at the user's disposal. So, yeah.
Do you know where that 10K came from? 10K walking?
I do. So let's go back to the 1960s. What was that? 1964 Olympics. Long story short, the Olympics just, obviously brings awareness to how great physical activity is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quick side note, I'm learning that a lot of like fitness trends that we have are all based on some type of marketing scheme. I say that because, right. I say that because that's exactly what happened with what is it? Pedometers. Pedometers measure your steps. So
Yes.
at the time, there was in the Japanese culture, they had a number of there were like pedometers were just going out more often, and pedometers were going out more often, and they were attaching that to you should do about 10,000 steps a day, so that it means that's, by the way, 10,000 steps is about 5 miles a day. They were attaching that if you use this pedometer, it will help you get 10,000 steps a day, which obviously leads to better health per, attaching that kind of to the Olympics or to Olympians. So that's how.
No science. It was.
The science wasn't related to, so there was evidence to show physical activity improves
in general
health, in general, but there was nothing specifically about the 10,000 steps a day. The 10,000 steps is an arbitrary number that obviously is it's an easy number to kind of remember and to catch all. Now, so that's where this 10,000 steps came from. But if you want to look more into it, there are studies have shown, less than 10,000 steps actually is enough to just remain active. That's the thing. The World Health Organization says, about 30 minutes a day of moderate activity is considered active, and anything less is inactive. So when you think of it from that definition compared to like, I need to get 10,000 steps a day, that's kind of, that's more accurate in like how someone is moving, and if that is leading to better generalized effects such as lower blood pressure or, less aches and bones and things like that. So there's nothing directly attached to the 10,000 steps that means, I have reduced my hypertension. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just generalized, but it's a good number, helps you remember. So go for it.
Yeah. It's a good number to remember.
Easier than saying get
7,500
steps.
Correct. And when individuals tested this Japanese number or the yeah, because you say
Theory.
theory. When they tested it, they found that generally people don't even get 10,000 steps a day.
It's a hassle. I mean, not a hassle,
Yeah.
but it's you have to be cognizant. Most people, some people are working and get their steps that way. But especially if you're in a like you're just sitting around for work, is this sedimentary? No, that's a rock.
Sedentary.
Sedentary. Thank you. Sedentary job. You might on a bad day means I go work to, like, especially now that we're in the pandemic and I've been working from home, getting 2,000 steps can be a hassle, or even getting like,
I agree.
Except if I have to walk my dog, then, we bumping up to at least 5,000 for the day. But it's, and I could see why you want to aim for a number of 10,000. It's just that sometimes you don't make it. And similar to the watch, I think these watches have goals, and I think we're going to talk about a little bit later, but the pros and cons. But I think it's sometimes, if you don't hit that goal, and now it's just like, okay, am I doing enough? I suck. Not that I suck, but you might get in your head and start to, it's not as valuable as it should be, because it's now adding to some of your insecurities or traumas around wellness.
I applaud the personal attachment you made to that, because you're right. It definitely will make you reconsider, like, where am I doing enough? Yeah, so definitely. I think the thing about fitness devices such as Fitbits and Apple Watches is that they just track it. They just give you the information. Well, they estimate it, so it's not completely accurate, but they just gather the information. They don't analyze the information, so they can't say, yeah, for instance, yes, you have less than 10,000 steps, or you haven't stood up for all 12 hours a day. However, it is not showing that you have been more active and you've, gone to yoga 3 times as more than you did last year. It's not showing that, you have logged that you drink 3-4 more cups of water over the past number of weeks. So it's just collecting this information, but it does take a level of diligence to dive deeper, as we like to say here, dive deeper into, like, am I improving? How am I improving? What's really going on?
Yeah, and it's similar to the scale, right? You can't just rely all on the scale because it's not giving the full picture. So you kind of have to look at the whole package, the whole story, to get a good understanding. Good point. Well, I guess it jumps right into experience. So what has been your experience with which ones do you have? Which ones have you had? What is your experience? Let's get into it.
I've had a Fitbit. When I Fitbit was my introduction.
Me too.
Watch. It was, Fitbit was cute.
It was cute.
Yeah. The Fitbit community is loyal. I can say that.
Yes, they did get some new. In the beginning, it was very like there's only one, or like not many choices, but they did try to, like,
slim wing.
Yeah. And then they had the thicker one, but then as other companies started to beef it up and give more data, right? Because in the beginning they only did steps, basically. They didn't really do too much else.
Correct.
But then they started to, like, all right, we went from first in the market to now we gotta, like, catch up to all these big dogs. So it was cute. It was cute when it first came out.
Fitbit started it all. Okay. Fitbit walked so Apple Watch and Garmin could run. Okay.
Pun intended.
I am not working in the technology industry, but I should. But yes, I had a Fitbit to start off. It definitely kept me active, but for consistency purposes, I switched to Apple Watch. And I had that for the longest. And Apple Watch is convenient. Most people have Apple, and it's a great community base. You can share with your friends, you can compete, like the color is aesthetically pleasing to watch my metrics on an Apple Watch. And it's great for just general health. Like if I'm if I'm walking in the park, or they have a pretty good selection of different, like, activities, which I applaud Apple on. However, I have taken a deeper dive into my fitness journey and focusing on, sports around triathlon. So that is what convinced my transition, or what sparked my transition rather, into the Garmin watch. It's a very advanced piece of technology, especially for individuals in multi-sports, or even those who love to run, who love to hike, especially outside. It's a very tailored device, which I've only had it for 2 weeks, but like they have some great metrics that I like to look at, some more in-depth metrics that come along with what I'm doing. And that's really what it is. I mean, but like if you don't want all the data, like the Apple Watch is enough. But but like you know how it is, especially when you get really intense. You're like, I want to know, you want to change all these things. So yeah, let me be a nerd with my watch.
Go for it. I'm no judgment here. This is a no judgment zone. Just kidding. It's a little bit of judgment.
Evident.
What about so I had the Fitbit in the beginning. That was cute. Then I had a Garmin for a while. That's when I first started my running journey. Really loved it. You get a lot of metrics. I didn't use it till it's full of capacity. I think it was So it was really good. Then I got an Apple Watch. The reason why I switched over because it was sleeker. That's when I got my Apple, so it just went into the whole ecosystem. I enjoyed like the challenges. It definitely is more of a gamification of wellness than the Garmin. You get to compete and challenge yourself with friends and stuff like that. And it's very interesting how they do use the data, because they'll even notice when you've been doing something or when you've been getting to a certain goal, and then next month they'll challenge you to do more to get another award or reward. But I think I will after this go back to the Garmin, just so I can get back into some of the specifics for running and biking and things of that nature. The only thing that I didn't like for the Garmin is because when I worked out in the gym, I wouldn't really get any metrics unless I wore the band, the heart rate monitor band. And I used to hate wearing that under my clothes. It was just too much. It was just a lot. I had to strap it on and work out, and then I'm sweaty. It was a lot. So that's kind of why I went to the Apple Watch, because you kind of do that it's all on your watch. But I think now that the Garmin probably has more. This was maybe like 6 years ago, 7 years, 8 years ago. So I think by now Garmin probably has a better selection that gives you total. Maybe not, but maybe.
They still offer the heart rate, the strap.
The strap.
Yeah, they still offer it.
Because the accuracy, I will say that compared to the Apple Watch, the Garmin is a lot more specific and accurate, I would say, when it comes to heart rate, when it comes to
agree.
Calories burned, when it comes to because even when I look at when I'm running and I use my watch versus Strava, I get two different paces every time. And they're like pretty significantly different. I don't know who's right or who's wrong. I'll get different.
Always go with the fastest.
I'll get different mileage. Not that one, not by too much, but it'll be a good 0.2 miles difference. So, and 0.2 miles matters, especially in a marathon. That's the difference between not finishing a race and finishing. So I think it just depends on what you want, what your goal is. So yeah, once I get back into more half marathons and half marathons.
Like speak it into existence. Okay.
Listen, I still, one of my goals was to do the world majors, and I'm halfway through, and I feel like I have to finish now that I'm halfway through.
Obsidian community, he needs the support to
I don't want
get that done.
to.
So go ahead and message Joe.
I really don't want to do any more marathons. That's
inspire him.
That's what I say. But after a few halves, I'm be like, all right, let's try this again. This happens every time. This is such a traumatic relationship I have with races and running.
Know thyself.
Know thyself. But yeah.
Okay. Good. So I think we have some takeaways. Yes.
I think don't Don't make it be a crutch. Don't always use it as support, not as a crutch. It's you can be addicted. I want to say addicted because that's very strong, but you can be overwhelmed, or you can be focused on the numbers too much that you kind of lose focus of what you're doing and the actual act of being well and fitness, which is not the greatest thing as well. You should always use it as one of the metrics that you're following, but don't make it be the end all be all. So I say all that to say, if you break your goal because, you have to go somewhere, or you got to do something, or you just can't go to the gym, that's fine. You don't have to go work out if you don't feel like you need to, or just to keep a goal on your watch. You always want to know that, this is a device. It's not going to be 100% accurate. Always follow your body. If you feel like you need a rest, if you feel like something's wrong, follow that. Don't let the watch lead you. You lead the watch or the device. Am I missing anything? I'm gonna keep on spitting random things. Feel free to interject.
Only thing I would add is find the watch that meets you. Find the watch that meets you where you are.
Yeah.
Some watches they may give you too much. You don't need all of that. There are some Joe and I, we're pretty experienced in the fitness realm. That's why we like the Garmin. But if you're not there, maybe
it's okay.
Fitbit is just enough too. What's most important is that you're being active and you're being consistent. That's what it is. You have to be consistent, and that's where that's the downfall of these technologies, that they don't help you remain consistent. They show you where you are at a given point in time. In addition, enjoy it. Like, it gives you data, but like, look at your progress over time compared to just, this day or this week or what my friend is doing. Like, don't look at it in that perspective. Look at how you're improving over time so that you can get the most use of what you're creating on your device.
Same as a personal trainer. All right around town. All right, so are we doing the gems? We haven't done the gem reading yet. We haven't done the gem reading yet.
Oh, I'm gonna give
so
fitness devices.
Yeah, for 1 is a nah, and 4 is a yes, give me more. I gotta make that rhyme. We gotta find one that rhymes. But anyway, yeah.
I was thinking of the rhyme. I'm gonna give fitness devices a 3. I mean, this is just where we are in the world. We use data. We want to be connected. We want community. This is where we are. It's useful, let's use it to our benefit. That's how I feel. And it's another great, although we did not mention the price tag on some of these, but look into it. But you can make it work for you. And it's a great, you have to have fun with some things like this. So enjoy your watch. So for that reason, I give it a 3. What do you give it?
I'm gonna give it, our first season's 4. I was gonna give it lower, but I was like, let's just give it a 4. I think, well, you know what? No. You guys, I had to take it back. I hyped y'all
okay.
up. I'm gonna do a 3.5. I gotta take a little bit away because of the data piece. And just becoming too over reliant on it. But it's a great tool. I love them. I'm gonna keep on using them. It might not be the same one I'll use, but I'll continue using it because I know I love data, and I like to find how I can fine tune and make my wellness work better. But I'm not going to give it a 4 because also you don't need it, right? You can still have wellness without it. You can still do what you got to do without it. So I don't think it's something 100% necessary, but I think it's a good tool to have in your tool bag, especially if you're new or you just want some accountability.
Great points.
A little backtrack. So 3.5
points. Okay. Yeah, hype them up and then just take it away. Just
that's what I do. That's what I do.
Got it. Dang.
That's why you gotta stay tuned. It's never a dull moment. Oh, this is where we take it away?
I think this is it. Anything else?
All right. That's all I have. I was like, oh man, Are we talking about more science? No. No, I think this is good. I think we got a full package of tools in your wellness toolbox that you could have. That was really good, really exciting. Thank you, Evan. I appreciate having you discuss some of the latest and greatest and not so greatest wellness and fitness trends. Any other gems or things that you'd like to discuss before we tune out?
If you're interested in more gems, you should join our Obsidian New Growth Book Club.
I know that's right. You can find more information on the Instagram for Obsidian Wellness Club, where we discuss not only the books, but we got some workouts too. So we have all the things for all the wellness aspects. Great segue. Good. That was a good promo for the book club. And I think that's it for now. So thank you all for listening, and thank you for picking you today. Bye, y'all.